Hey, good morning and welcome to Breakthrough Walls. I'm Ken Walls and I'm your host. And today I have not your average CEO on the show. His name is Bryan Clayton and he's the CEO of Your GreenPal. And we're going to talk about that, but we're also going to talk about his life story and what got him to where he is today. So, if you would do me a favor and share this out, I would be very appreciative of that. And we will see you in just a second where we'll have Bryan Clayton on the show. All right, we're back. Let me bring Bryan on. Bryan, welcome to the show.
Ken, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
I'm honored to have you here. I think it was Joe Ingram that referred you to me. Joe's my buddy.
Awesome.
He said,
Fantastic.
have you had Bryan Clayton on yet? And I'm like, nope, I haven't. So
Awesome. Well, I appreciate that.
yeah, man. So I started this about 5.5 years ago, and it was really, I was kind of at a stuck place in my life as a CEO of my company and had a lot of stuff going. I thought, you know what, if I hear enough people tell their story, how they got unstuck, then maybe it'll help me. And so here we are.
Oh, that's great.
I'm excited to hear your story, Bryan. Why don't you start with telling everybody where you were born and raised?
Yeah. So I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, and I guess I got lucky growing up in Nashville because it's just been a booming economy for the last 20, 30 years, and I think that's a lot. That's a lot of setting yourself up for success is being in a place that's growing. So I'm lucky to have been from here.
Yeah, Nashville. My favorite hotel in the world is in Nashville. You want to guess which one?
Oh, nice. Well, what about the Hermitage? That place is awesome, or the Bobby Hotel, or what is yours?
It's Opryland, dude.
Oh yeah. Well, you
I
forget
mean,
about Opryland. Yeah,
how can
Opryland's
you
awesome.
forget about it? It's
I,
massive.
Opryland's awesome, man. Yeah,
It's amazing,
yeah,
especially at Christmas, man.
yeah,
They just they do it up right. I
yeah. They
love
do.
Nashville. Love Nashville. So that's awesome. I didn't know you were from Nashville. So what was it like growing up for you in Nashville? I mean, that's a nice town.
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier, man, it's like if you left for a year and came back, it's like you almost wouldn't recognize certain parts of town, especially downtown.
Yeah.
And I grew up running a lawn care company, a landscaping company, and I was really lucky to be in a place that was as thriving as Middle Tennessee because new houses were being built, new apartment complexes, new office parks, you name it, and they all need lawn mowing. They all need landscaping maintenance, and so there's always new swings at the plate for me, and so yeah, really lucky. I mean, if I had grown up in a place like I don't know, Jackson, Mississippi, or even like St. Louis or Kansas City, places that haven't grown in the last 20 years,
Yeah.
it would have been harder. And so I think that matters. Like where you live and where you're growing your business matters.
Amen. I literally just said that to my wife because we're from Ohio originally, and we just moved to Dallas about a year and a half ago.
So you've seen
And
the difference.
oh man,
Yeah.
I'm we're driving back from dinner the other night, and I said, "Look how beautiful and it's booming and exploding." And I said, "Where you live matters, and our
Where you live
business
matters.
is exploding. Like
Yep.
it's like where you live matters. It really does."
Cranes. If you see cranes, that's a
Yep.
good indication that you're in the right place. I mean, Nashville has got 20 or 30 cranes downtown right now, and
Wow.
and you go to a place like Kansas City, that there's not a crane to be seen, and it's sad.
Yeah.
It shouldn't
Yeah.
be that way. So I was very lucky as far as that was concerned.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. So you grew up. I started my sales career at 7 or 8 years old, pulling a lawnmower behind my bicycle,
Nice.
going door
Nice.
to door asking if I could mow somebody's lawn. That's
Nice.
how I started, though, man. I was a hustler as a kid and wanted to just get out and work. I did not continue, however. It sounds like you did.
Well, that's one of the cool things about like a lawn mowing business or any type of home service business is that you can learn 80% of what goes into any business
Yeah.
running just a simple home services business. And it kind of clicked with me when I started mowing grass in high school, and it clicked with me that I could just duplicate what I was doing, and then I could get people to help me with that duplication, and I could build something sizable. And went to business school and mowed yards all day, and went to school at night. And when I learned in business school, I made a little business plan that maybe I could build a big landscaping company. And I don't know why I wanted to do it, other than like I had a chip on my shoulder. And ended up even up growing that company to about 150 employees, around 10 million a year in sales. And then in 2013, it was acquired by a national organization out of Texas that runs all over the country. And so, yeah, I guess I was lucky that I got started young, running my own little lawn mowing business, because there's no telling where I would have ended up in life had I not done that.
It's amazing. I remember a friend of mine he's a millionaire in the financial services industry. And back when I first started my business, about a year in, I'm sitting in his office, envious as hell of everything that he has.
Yeah.
Right. I'm like, why can't I get here? And he said, how are things? And I said, man, business sucks and blah, blah. He goes, that's your fault. He goes, you know what? There's a dude right here in Columbus, Ohio, making over $1 million a year, driving around picking up dog crap out of people's yards.
That's
If
awesome.
he can do it,
Yep.
you can do it.
Yep. That's one of the things about small business is that,
Right.
or any business, is that it is your fault. It is your limitations. It is how much you're putting into it is what you're going to get out. And
Amen.
it's important for us to always remind ourselves of that. That was good advice that your buddy gave you.
Yeah. Well, it woke me up because I thought, I know I don't want to go pick up dog crap. So when you started this business plan, and you said it was eventually bought out. What I know that you have, it's your, it's yourgreenpal.com.
That's my current baby, I guess you could say. That's my business. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. But what transpired between back then and up to now with this company?
Yeah. So, build the landscaping business and learn through the school of hard knocks how to grow and scale a company, and things like management, leadership, and systems and marketing and all of these things. Kind of learned the hard way growing that company, and then getting it acquired. And after I sold it, I thought, okay, now I'm just going to live the good life. I don't want to do that again. That was really hard, and I don't ever want to do that again. And I tried to do that. I took a year off, and I thought I was just going to do investing and like real estate investing and things like that. And I learned something about myself, that actually I'm wired to want to be a part of a project. I'm wired to want to be a part of a business, and to pour everything I got into that business. And that was gone. I didn't have that anymore. And so it was like there was a piece of me missing, and it really felt like I didn't have a mission in life. And so I thought, well, okay, I'm going to start another company, but I don't want to start another contracting company like I just had, because that was really hard. Why can't I start a tech company? Maybe I can start a tech business. And then I started thinking, well, what could I do? And then I went a couple of months with no ideas. And then I took an Uber in 2012. Took the first Uber at the San Francisco airport. That was their first city. And that was a magical experience for me. I thought this was incredible. I pushed a button and a stranger picked me up in their car. This is the way the world is going to go for a lot of different things. And I had an idea that if it works for ride sharing, it could work for lawn mowing. And I thought, well, how hard could it be? I could just pay a development company, to build this thing, and I'll be off and going. So that's what I did. I recruited 2 co-founders, and we pulled our money together, and we paid a dev shop like $150,000 to build this idea of the Uber for lawn care.
Wow.
And it was 9 months and $150,000 later, and it was a total bomb, total zero. Did not work. Did not meet the vision of push a button, a lawn mowing company come. And so we started to like have a gut check that, okay, if we really want to do this, we're gonna have to learn how to build software. We're gonna have to learn how to code. So my co-founder went to a software development boot camp. I went to YouTube University, and we taught ourselves how to build software. And it took about a year or two, but then we rebuilt the whole thing, started marketing it, started getting people to use it, and set little small goals and growing it. And now 10 years later, GreenPal is a 10-year overnight success. So around 300,000 people using this app every week to get lawn mowing done, and soon it'll be 1 million.
So, okay. Wow. You have no idea like the scab you're picking right now. So like, this is good, man. This is really good. I have, man, I feel like I feel like I'm going through lawn mowing people on a regular basis, and I'm here in Dallas and way north of Dallas, but you know, there's here's the thing. And when I had Tommy Mello on the show a couple years ago, I said, dude, you know, if I were to become a contractor of any kind, it doesn't, I mean, lawn mowing is kind of a contractor thing, right? I think that if contractors would just show up, like
Yeah,
just show up, that's a really good start, right?
so
And
true.
so you've developed something, it sounds like, that these lawn mowing people can be a part of. And is there like a star rating system and all of that too?
Yeah, so to your point, the case of the disappearing lawn guy, it's very real. They you hire one and they show up, or maybe they don't even show up, and then they might do a good job for a mow or two, and then they just drop off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
There's
That,
several reasons for that. One is nobody teaches any of us how to run a small business, and
right.
so businesses like home cleaning, lawn mowing, that have a low barrier to entry. It's a lot of new entrants come in and leave, and nobody's ever taught them how to run a small business. And that's why consumers have this negative experience of, why can't the guy just show up when he's supposed to? You know, it's pretty basic. Or
Yeah.
why can't he or she mail me a bill when you know, every month you have to nag them to bill me. And so we set out to figure out why. Like, why does it suck to hire a lawn care service? And what we realized was, as it turns out, there's no real like tool set for these guys to run their business smoothly. They
Yeah.
have to do it with pen and pad. Yeah, there's a couple of service offerings out there, software offerings out there, but they don't really map to basic lawn mowing. And then like doing accounts receivable and just getting paid on time. There's a million different ways to get paid, and kind of coordinating that and coordinating all the schedules and then marketing the damn thing. You know, like, you can't
Yeah.
survive on 10 customers. You got to have 100 or 200. So
Yep.
we set out to build an operating system that these small providers could kind of plug into and run their business step by step. And get to kind of like be a coach for them almost. You know what it means to show up on time, and what it means to be proactive, and why it's important for their livelihood. And little by little, we built out this kind of operating system that they can plug into, that then enabled consumers to hire them off the shelf, hire them like a book on, or like you buy a book on Amazon. And so we attacked it from the lawn care company side first, and then the consumer experience of, you push a button, Joe's Lawn Service shows up on Thursday when he's supposed to, because he's connected into this operating system that ensures that he's going to do that. And it took a decade, but little by little we made it better and better and better. And in the early days, we kind of hand cranked what we didn't have the technology for. So we would start off with just a basic website, and then we would call Joe's Lawn Service, and we would follow up, and we would make sure that he showed up on time. And then as time went on, we built the technology to automate those things. And so now a consumer can jump on our website or download the app and then they instantly get 4 or 5 quotes from lawn care services that want their business, and they can hire them and pay them through our technology. And
Wow.
then they just show up when they're supposed to, because they're using this software that we built for them that ensures they will.
And it sounds like there's some sort of a level of accountability built into it.
Yeah, we don't want to. So it's important to note that GreenPal is not a provider of services. GreenPal is not your lawn care service. GreenPal is not the company you're hiring to mow your grass.
Right.
GreenPal is a tool set that you can use for free to quickly get quotes and
Wow.
hire the guy or gal you want to work with, and then work with them through our software. So that's how the network works. But that being said, um, how do we deliver an experience for both suppliers and consumers that's better than just doing it the old way? And the way that we do that is through a review system. As a consumer, you would review every experience that you've had with different lawn mowing services you can try out with your account. And then we also, because we understand if they're showing up on time or not, we're also able to assign them a reliability rating. So you can see, okay, this guy, shows up 90% of the time. This guy shows up 75% of the time. And you can make the best decision based on how often, how reliable they are, and also what they're going to charge you, because it's not always like, if it's an empty lot or a rental property, you don't really care. Just come twice a month. But if
Right.
it's your home, you want them there on Friday afternoon. So
Yeah.
it's important to make that balance between price and reliability. And that's what the network does for you as a consumer. And then
Yeah.
as a vendor, as a lawn care company, now you get access to all these people that want your services. They can hire you much easier. And then you can plug in your payment system to where you're paid every day for the work you do. And it just happens like clockwork. You don't have to do bookkeeping every night. You don't have to do this stuff with pen and pad anymore.
That's phenomenal. And are there, because for me, we have a sprinkler system, and we have a humongous flower bed, and we have the Texas sun and heat. So the sprinkler system apparently wasn't working last summer during a drought, and
Oof.
the bushes in our front flower bed didn't appreciate it, so they died. And so I'm like, okay, I got to find somebody that not only will show up and mow the lawn, but also take care of replacing these bushes and doing the fix the sprinkler system. And do you guys do all of that? Like, is
Yes.
it?
So the basic lawn mowing is kind of the on-ramp use case
Yeah.
for consumers. When they come to the website, you're like, what is this? What can I do with this? Okay, I can get quotes from people who can mow my yard. Okay. And then once you get set up with somebody who's doing a good job and you like working with them, you can then layer on these other services and request for them to give you pricing for irrigation system maintenance, shrub replacement, gutter cleaning, snow
Wow.
plowing if you're up north, seeding, mulch, leaves, all these things you're going to need anyway.
Yeah.
The lawn care company you hire through your GreenPal account can provide those services to you, and then you can schedule them in conjunction with the lawn mowing. So it kind of happens in one place, and you know what's going on. You can look at your phone and say, okay, yeah, they're going to trim the bushes and mow next week. You know what? The bushes don't really need to be done. Let me go ahead and pull that off. And you can do that and manage it from your smartphone.
Wow. That's powerful, man. That's
It's
really
it's
powerful.
taken a while to deliver those types of features and to
Yeah.
deliver those types of tool sets to consumers and lawn companies, but little by little we've made it better and better, and that's still what we're focusing on. We're still focusing on how do we make this easier, quicker, more seamless to use, and how do we build more features that lawn companies can make more money with, and also build features that reduce friction and headache for consumers.
Yeah.
Always making it better and better. I think going deep on one thing can be a good strategy, and that's what we've spent the decade doing.
So I think about a client of mine up in Connecticut that they own a big like chemical lawn care treatment
Mm.
company.
Yeah.
He said, and we run his website. I've done web development for 30 years. You should have called me back in the beginning.
Totally.
Yeah, right. That's my fault, not yours. But so I, we run his websites, and he's like, dude, I get so many calls from people asking me to, mow their lawn.
Right.
I do you have like a referral affiliate network or anything like that where guys like my buddy could refer to you guys?
Not officially, but it's funny you say that. That's where a big chunk of people hear about it
Yeah,
is by calling bigger landscaping companies or
right.
chemical companies or fertilization companies and saying, "Will you mow my grass?" And when I was running a large landscaping company, we didn't want to say no, and
Right.
we didn't want to. We had a value in how we ran that business to always be helpful, no matter what. And so what we would do is we would maintain a list of small providers by the office phone, and we would refer those names out. So that's how I knew GreenPal would work, because essentially I was kind of doing it in analog, connecting buyers and sellers just as a favor. And now, fast forward 15 years later, that's how a lot of people come to find out about it. Is people just being helpful and saying, yeah, no, we specialize in fertilizing, but if you need a grass cutting, I mean, there's a platform you can use where you can quickly get quotes and you can quickly get connected with somebody who wants that business. And
Wow.
you can know that you're making an informed hiring decision in terms of reviews and
Yep.
ratings. Whereas normally you're kind of just shooting in the dark. Maybe you've got like a Google profile, maybe there's something on Yelp, but you don't, like, these aren't tied to actual like transactions. And so you
Yeah.
don't really know if this person's reliable or not. And also there's no incentive for them to be reliable because there's no closing of the loop of the activity. Whereas with your GreenPal account, you do know, okay, this guy has mowed, you know, 2 or 3 thousand lawns with his GreenPal account, and he showed up 98% of the time. He's going to show up on Friday when I want him.
Yeah. Wow. That's powerful. And it all started from an Uber ride.
Yeah, it started with
It's crazy.
me experiencing magic is
Yeah.
how I would describe it. And there's a saying, I think it was the founder of IBM, and he said, a developed technology is indistinguishable from magic. And so it's like, if you're here and magic's here, you want to like close the gap between you and magic. And that's
Yeah.
what we've spent 10 years doing. We still got a long way to go. But experiencing that for the first time made a light bulb go off in my head that somebody's going to build a network to make this work for basic lawn care. Why can't that be me? And I just did it.
Are there any like significant barriers to entry? Let's say I decide to go out and buy a lawnmower and a weed whacker and a leaf blower today. I might have a leaf blower actually, but so but and I'm like, hey, I'm starting a business today. Are there any barriers to entry for me as a vendor to get on this app and be recommended?
Yeah, so as a provider of services, you sign up and you enter some basic information, and then you create your payment merchant account, and through that your identity is verified, and so the system verifies that you're a real person. You are who you say you are.
Yeah.
You upload pictures of your equipment and things like that, and so there is a minimal kind of threshold or vetting that occurs to get access to the platform.
Yeah.
But that's where it starts. Beyond that, you're being measured based on your performance in the network. And
Yeah.
so if you're not showing up on time, if you're not getting good reviews, it's going to be kind of hard to make money with your GreenPal account. You have to take care of your customers that you get through the network. You have to show up on time in order to prosper on the account. And if you don't, then nobody's going to hire you. And so you kind of like you can submit 30 quotes a day, but if you've got a 1-star rating and a 10% reliability rating, nobody's going to hire you. And so
Mhm.
these kind of systems of understanding who's reliable and who's not are self and reinforcing in a sense that good providers they prosper with on the network and they make money, and the bad ones don't,
Right.
and eventually churn out.
So is there a way, because I know I love the Uber app actually. Is there a way for consumers to communicate with the providers? Like, Uber, you can send a direct message inside the app to the driver. Do you guys have that built in as well?
So our platform, so Uber's a great example.
Yeah.
You don't care who picks you up. You don't care. You don't really care who your driver is, so long as you get there safely. And so,
Right.
so Uber is kind of your purveyor of that ride. If you have a problem, you call Uber.
Yeah.
And you even say, "I took an Uber here," and so uh, that is a top down kind of managed marketplace. Our platform works differently in the sense of we're an operating system that lawn care companies pay to access, that enables
Got it.
consumers to hire them and do business with them easier. So it's a different orientation. So we don't really want to get in the middle of communication between
Yeah.
buyers and sellers, because nobody wants one more inbox to check. Nobody wants. We already have WhatsApp, we already have SMS, we already have email. There's no reason for a GreenPal inbox. We thought about it in the early days, but we thought nobody really wants one more messaging thing to check.
Yeah.
And we're not trying to disintermediate those connections. We're trying to make them run smoother. We're
Yeah.
trying to make them run more frictionless. And so providing buyers and sellers with phone numbers and push the text, like literally you can push a button in your account and it'll like, okay, here's their phone number in your SMS app, and then you need to message them, is how we've oriented the network.
That is so freaking amazing that you've created this. Like,
Which by the way is one reason why a lot of Uber for X ideas never took off. There was a 5-year period of time where an avalanche of venture capital rolled into Uber for home cleaning, Uber
yeah,
for car washing, Uber for laundry service, Uber for valet parking, and pretty much all of them crashed and burned because they were trying to apply the exact Uber model of this, what I would call fungible commodity
yeah,
of service provider. And that's not how the lawn business works. You really do care who's going to show up and mow your yard every Thursday. You want it to be the same guy. And
yeah,
so it's our job to facilitate those introductions, quickly help them interact with each other, quickly help them surface what pricing and availability is. And then everything else, it needs to be handled in a personalized way.
yeah.
And so it's a combination of facilitating and building tools that facilitate that, but getting out of the way and not being in the way when there's an issue.
So, okay, let's talk about your coverage. Like, I'm assuming you probably started in the Nashville area.
Yeah.
I would. Like, hey, we're right here. Let's try it here. But like, are you national now? I mean, what are your reaches?
Yeah. So spent 3 years in Nashville, Tennessee, trying to make the damn thing work, honestly. And
Yeah.
and I remember having this feeling like in year 3 or year 2 or 3 where I was just pissed off because I was like, ah, man, I just never would have thought it would take this long. We're still just in one town. It still is like clunky, and I don't know. I wanted to feel better, and I wanted to like launch a new city because I wanted something to feel good about.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to my co-founders, like, we got to launch our next city. We're gonna launch Atlanta, Georgia, because it's 3 hours from Nashville. I can go down there and do whatever has to happen. And my co-founder said to me, he said, "Bro, I think 100 people used this thing last week, and I'm pretty sure 98 of them are pissed off at us right now." And so, and
Oh
so
no.
we don't need to launch another city, man. We need to fix that problem first. And he was absolutely right. And it's
Why
like,
were they pissed off?
so you name it. So what I learned in the first year was all of the things that suck about hiring a lawn care service and getting it done are now kind of my problem. And
Right. I was getting ready to say.
because I don't have a product
Right.
unless I can build something that helps smooth those things over.
Mm,
And so we tried to approach it from the consumer side and have like a top down, like heavy handed approach.
yeah.
And that didn't work. And then we started to realize, no, this starts with the lawn company, and we have to build something that they love to use and a tool set that makes their life literally better, or else they're not going to use it. They're not going to show up on time for their customers, and
Yeah.
they're not going to know why it's important to do that. And so it took a long time to figure that out. And so one reason why, damn near everybody hated us was because they would use it and it didn't work. The person they hired didn't show up. The person they hired showed up but did a half-assed job, or they left the back gate open, or mowed with dull blades, or didn't have the right equipment for the job, or just didn't show up, or you name it, or charged them more than they said they would. And so we had to figure out this delicate way to solve these problems, but not be in the provider of lawn care services, and not be in the business of selling lawn care service.
Yeah.
And so the way we figured it out was we have to figure out what the incentives are, and the psychological incentives of what it means to want to do a good job and why it's important. And we have to figure out a way to hold these vendors accountable if they're going to use our software. And it took a long time, and little by little, we started making it better and better, where, okay, now only half of the people are pissed off at us. Well, okay, well, let's keep solving those problems. And
Oh
so
my
now,
God.
yeah, now fast forward, the number's inverted. Maybe one person out of 100, probably less than that. My phone would not be silent if it was more than that. There's thousands of people using it right now as we speak.
Wow.
Um, but being relentless and being a never-ending kind of like problem-solving machine
Yeah.
is kind of what it takes to build something like this.
So what's your coverage?
Oh, so in any town in the country of over 15, 20,000 people, there's lawn care companies paying to access the app that you can then
Wow.
hire off the shelf. And it's taken a while to build out that network, but yeah, anywhere coast to coast. Only United States though. We aren't quite ready. We have same problem, Nashville to Atlanta. We have a similar problem now in the United States to Canada, or UK to or UK or Australia. The problem we're trying to figure out now is that it's not like we're in 300 cities. It's 300 individual networks
Right.
of buyers and sellers. And so if you don't have enough sellers using the software in one town, then buyers aren't going to use it, and vice versa. So building out that network and getting the right balance of buyers and sellers on the network is the problem we're focused on now before we go international.
So are you like, I'm I've owned businesses my whole life, and literally since I was like 7 or 8. Are you guys doing like grassroots guerrilla marketing, networking? And I mean, what are you doing to get I cannot imagine how, because you're not targeting just consumers, you're targeting both sides. So that's,
Both sides of the transaction have to be aware of it. They have to
yeah.
want to use it. They got to know where to find it.
Wow.
And it's like, there's a saying that the first time founder worries about the product or the service.
Yeah.
If you open up a coffee shop, you're worried about how does the coffee taste. If you're opening up a home cleaning service, you're worried about, like, are the houses clean?
Yeah.
Well, the first time founder worries about that. Well, the second time founder worries about marketing and distribution,
Yep.
because the second time founder knows that the product and the experience and the service is table stakes. You have to nail that.
Yep.
And if you don't, you don't have anything. So they know that's table stakes. And what they're worrying about, like in level 1, is how am I going to market this damn thing? How am I going to get people connected to it when they need it, and awareness built around it? And if you can't innovate on that, then it's going to be a tough time. And so we spent 2 or 3 years trying to figure out every which way we could get awareness built around the app. The first thing we did, in the first year, was we passed out door hangers. We did not have any other ideas, any other strategy, and we needed 1,000 people to try the app.
Right.
Well, it's like, okay, I'm on level 1 of the game. My main problem is I need interactions with this piece of software we've built. It's going to take me 2 or 3 years to figure out Facebook ads or Google ads or search. I need people to use this damn thing now.
Right.
So we passed out 200,000 or 300,000 door hangers all over Tennessee, and that got the downloads. That got people to use it. They churned. They quickly went away.
Yeah.
They did not stick around because the experience wasn't good, but at least got us a handful of people that we could talk to. And we would ask them, everywhere they were let down, what do they wish it would do differently? And that kind of was free R&D for us to understand, okay, this is what we need to focus on to make the experience better. It also kind of gave us insight around how people normally look for this kind of service. And a lot of people would tell us, I would go to Google out of desperation and type lawn mowing service nearby me in East Nashville or something.
Yeah.
And so that informed our early kind of bets, I guess you could say, that, okay, let's try to do content marketing. Let's see if we can build out content around these lawn care services. And maybe, when people are looking for those services, they can discover their service and book them through GreenPal. And like that was something that started to show some reward after about 6 months. And meanwhile, we were testing everything else. We were testing Google ads, Facebook ads, and we were just burning money in those channels. I mean, just could not. I mean, a customer would cost us $500.
I know
to try to, and they're not even our customer. The vendor is our customer. Our customer is the lawn care company, but we're, to try to generate these interactions, we would pay $500 to get somebody to try it, and that was untenable. And so we just started going all in on content marketing. How do we carpet the internet with content about these lawn companies that are paying to use our service? How do we help them succeed on our platform? And the way we did it was we just started building content around them. Okay, so this is Joe's lawn care company. He's in Smyrna, Tennessee. This is where he went to high school. This is what he does differently than his competition.
Right.
This is what days he's available. This is what services he offers. And we would create that content with the lawn company. And little by little, that started to show up in search. And so now Joe's Lawn Service is getting hired off of that public page through his GreenPal account. And now fast forward a decade later, that's still how we get 60-70% of the people that find out about GreenPal that they've never heard about it. It's like they think, okay, well, I need a lawn mowing service in Lincoln, Nebraska. Let me type that in. Oh, who's this? Okay, I don't know about this GreenPal thing, but let me read about this guy. Okay, he's good. Okay, yeah, I want a free quote from him. All right, let me request a free quote from him. And so now GreenPal is powering this interaction and helping these two folks meet each other and quickly get the job done, helping them do it easier.
I'm sitting here thinking, okay, because I was in home services for a long time, and this is almost like Angie's List without you being Angie, because I think Angie plays the middleman. No, like middle woman, whatever. But where they kind of run interference between contractor and homeowner, and you're not doing that, which I think is awesome. But in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, if I own a landscape or a lawn mowing company, you're almost, and I would imagine this is another obstacle for you. You're not going to have your lawn care companies recommending you to other lawn care companies.
It's
hey, let me promote my competitors here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. But so, to your early point about Angie's List.
Yeah.
That they are similar to Home Advisor and
Yeah.
Thumbtack and a few others, and they have their place. That these are really good platforms
Yes.
where they operate across a bunch of different verticals. So,
Right.
roof repair to plumbing to lawn care.
Yeah.
And the way they make money is they take your information and they sell it. They sell it to a bunch of companies paying to access it. GreenPal is different in the sense that lawn companies pay the platform to operate their business, and the leads they get are free, and they can bid on as many of them as they want, and so that enables the platform to deliver an experience where you get 4 or 5 quotes really quickly.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go to like a Home Advisor or something, it's like everybody is giving you a quote, paid $20 to give you a quote,
Right.
and then they're gonna like probably try to some high pressure sales or something like that,
Yeah.
and that model doesn't really work very well for a $35 lawn mowing because nobody's going to pay $20 to get a stab at a $35 lawn mowing. So
No.
it's a little different. But so how do you deal with like I don't want to tell my competition about this because
Right.
we have several vendors billing their customers over $1 million through
Wow.
through their payment system connected to GreenPal. So
Wow.
it can be compelling. That said, it's like lawn companies usually only travel about 15 miles. And so these guys kind of know each other. This guy's on that side of town. He services that side of town. So when somebody calls them, they say, "Hey, check out GreenPal, hire Pete's lawn service on there." And
Right.
and they tell their buddies about it who they don't directly compete with.
Yeah.
We notice that as we grow in a city that we kind of start within the nucleus and then kind of move out in concentric circles slowly because of the word of mouth. And
Wow.
and so it's not as good as on the homeowner side, but vendors do tell each other about it.
Have you ever like woke up in the middle of the night and went, "What the hell was I thinking?"
Many times.
Right. Right.
Many times. Many
Yeah.
times. It's so a couple of I've had one good idea in 10 years, and this is it. So
Yeah.
at
This is
least I had
great.
a good idea, but that's about all I got right. My team and I made a lot of mistakes along the way.
Right.
But it's just like if you can look at what it is you're doing as a never-ending experiment, that can
Right.
kind of help with a lot of the I guess the cognitive dissonance of damn, that was a stupid decision. Well, that was an experiment, It was an
Right.
experiment.
Right.
If you tried something out and it didn't work, just treat it as an experiment.
I love that, man. Let me ask you, because I have a lot of entrepreneurs that watch the show. Hopefully, my new lawn guy doesn't watch it. I love the job you're doing, by the way. So just keep it up. But Martin is his name. But I think about entrepreneur being a business owner, especially in today's world, is man, it can be brutal. And I know there's a lot of people struggling. My question would be, what do you think is holding most business owners, entrepreneurs back from having it all? And I'm talking about, look, I think money will buy you happiness. So I know that that's not a popular opinion. I don't care. I've been homeless and broke, and I've been wealthy, and wealthy is better. So like, what do you think stopping people from having it all, really mashing on the gas, getting through it all, and exploding? And I'm giving
Well,
you full screen, by the way, for that.
in my experience, anytime that I have been hung up, and so my first business was 15 years. This one is 10, so 25 years in business for myself. Anytime I've been hung up, looking back with the benefit of hindsight, it was usually because I had plateaued in a certain way. The business had reached a bottleneck and I was the bottleneck. And what I mean by that is I didn't have the skills or the acumen, the 80/20 understanding of
Mm,
whatever it was
right.
that was holding us back. And so this happened in my first business where I was year 3 or 4, and I was just pissed off because I couldn't get over, 5 employees and 500K in revenue, and I could not figure it out. And I realized, damn, you need to develop a sales system. You got to become good at sales. You looking in the mirror. And so I started reading every book I could get my hands on developing sales processes and developing a good sales system and developing a good value proposition. And that took like 2 years, but I had to level up to get us to the next step. I couldn't delegate that. I couldn't just go hire somebody to take that off my plate. I had to level up. And so usually, if you're stuck in a certain level of the game, it usually is because you as the founder haven't gone in and like gotten your hands dirty on whatever it is that's holding up the business at that level.
And the whole church stood up and said amen, because I agree. I agree with that. There's this I think there's this facade on Instagram especially that these kids are going out here and spending $5,000 to rent an airplane that never leaves the ground for an hour for a photo shoot, and they're
Yeah.
creating this BS that's like not even real, man. And
Yeah,
there's this.
the theater of success.
Yeah.
And now, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, these are insanely helpful tools for learning things
Yeah.
and being exposed to new ideas and also to market your business. So these are great tools. But on the other hand, they can also perpetuate bad information and perpetuate a myth of the overnight success and can perpetuate the idea that somehow owning a business is easier in every way. And it's so funny you mentioned Instagram. I saw a meme the other day where it's a screenshot from the movie Oppenheimer, and it's Charles Oppenheimer, and he's very pensively thinking and sitting on his recliner, and he's thinking about something. He's probably thinking about dropping the atom bomb. But like
Right.
underneath the picture, it says, "Me about to lose it at my corporate job, and I'm just going to quit and go open a coffee shop."
Right.
And so when I'm reading this, I'm like, what the author of this meme does not understand is that they are going to quit their corporate job because they think that going and opening a coffee shop will be so much easier. And what they don't understand is they're going to work 7 days a week, twice as hard for
Yeah.
half the money. If they're lucky, they'll break even their first year. They have no idea about the number of taxing authorities that exist.
Oh
They
my
have
God.
no idea about all
Mm.
of the regulations that exist. They have no idea how much fun it is to hire and train and keep an employee. It's like, go start that coffee shop. I promise you, it's going to be 10 times harder than your corporate gig. And so that's the wrong reason to get into starting a business.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the wrong reason. You're escaping something that you hate, that you think sucks for whatever reasons, and you think that starting a business is going to be the good life or access to the good life. And the reality is that it is very much like chewing glass for a long time until these things start to work. And it's important to go in understanding that. I'm not saying don't start a business, but I'm saying don't start it from that disposition because you won't have success.
It's I love the visual of chewing glass, because that's literally what it's like.
Yeah.
Again, I think that for me, I can't fathom working for someone else. My wife was global VP of marketing for 2 different $500 million a year companies.
Wow.
And when she was downsized in 08, 09, they eliminated the marketing department first, which is really stupid, but whatever. They're bankrupt now and gone. But I said, well, we had just started dating, and I said, well, you can work with me. I think I may have said work for me, and that didn't fly. So I said, well, work with me.
Yeah.
Right.
One word.
Right. And so, what she always says, because it's a freaking battle every day. Like this, I wake up in the morning, put on the full armor of God, and give it my all to go out there and just say, I don't know what's going to happen, but this is my plan, and I'm going to give it. And it doesn't always go as planned. And so she's always said, never undervalue or never underestimate the value of a weekly paycheck. Because I
Very
don't know
true.
what that's like. It's been a long time, but
Yeah,
my gosh, there's
very true.
times you've seen that meme where it's like the journey of an entrepreneur, and it's like, oh my God, we're that's it, we're
Yep.
headed to billionaire status, and then
Yep.
oh God, tomorrow, the next day, you're like, we're going bankrupt.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like every level of the game, there's a new final boss,
it's
and
crazy.
you think that at least I've thought this at times that if I can just make this one hire or solve this one
Yeah.
problem or get to this level of sales, that my problems will go away.
Hmm.
And no, that just means you get to solve new problems.
Yep.
You're a relentless problem solving machine, and anybody listening to this who hasn't started a business is probably like, well, why the hell would I want to do that? That sounds terrible. I don't want to live my life doing that. And
Right.
it's not, listen, for me, thank God I've spent 25 years in my own businesses because nobody would have ever paid me or ever hired me to do anything substantial. And so it's unlimited unlimited upside, it's
Yep.
uncapped upside, and it exposes you to things that you never would have been exposed to in a job.
Yeah.
And you evolve and you become a person that you never would have been otherwise. So it is worth it. But it's important to dispel the myth you see on TikTok of, oh, I just go buy a laundromat and I can make $1 million.
A laundry.
Really?
That's a really obscure, but
Yeah.
a laundromat. Hey, listen, and the cool part is there's a laundromat owner out there somewhere making over $1 million a year.
Oh, there is, and I guarantee you, he sees those TikToks and laughs his butt off. He's like, "It's not this easy. I've been doing this 20 years, and I didn't make any money for my first 5 or 6 years. It's not as easy as this TikTok video is having it perceived."
My buddy's dad started the Little Giant Ladder Company. I'm sure you've heard of Little Giant Ladders. And his father passed away in 2012. But the interesting part of the story is he was selling these ladders after it's a long story, but anyway, he's literally driving around the US in a station wagon with ladders in the back and sleeping on top of the ladders.
Man, that's awesome.
Right. And it turned in, and now they do $400 or $500 million a year. They're the third largest in the world, humongous company. So that's, I think, what keeps us alive.
Totally.
Right. You hear that story and you're like, son of a, there's hope for me. Like, yeah. I can do this. All right. 500 million. I'm in. So
totally. It's important to see those stories, hear them, consume them, and take inspiration from them. And that's one of the good things about social media and YouTube is that you can get access to these stories in a way that, I grew up in the 80s and 90s. The first time I wanted to learn about building my business, I had to mail a check to a trade association, and they mailed me back some cassette tapes.
Right.
And it was $900. And it's like nowadays you can learn anything you got to learn at the touch of a button for free. So in many ways, starting and scaling a company is easier than it's ever been.
Way easier. Man, this has been a great conversation. Before I end this with you, Bryan, what are some final words you would have to everybody watching that owns a business that, look, my buddy Joaquin, he lives in hell, literally. There's a town called Hell, Norway.
Oh, wow. Oh,
and
wow.
He lives there. Yeah. Sleeping on ladders will keep you up at night. But what are some final words of wisdom you would give the people watching or listening on the podcast network? If maybe they own a business, they're struggling in life. I've had cars repoed as a business owner. I've lost a house. Everything.
Yep.
Like, I've been through it all, man. And that's why I hate to see a tow truck in my neighborhood.
Oh, yeah. You still have PTSD.
Yeah, dude. I'm like, it'll catch my attention for a moment. But what are some final words you would give the audience?
Yeah, I heard this advice the other day, and I can't remember who said it, but it resonated with me because I've been guilty of this. A lot of times, there are no overnight successes, so you have to be patient. You have to be patient. It's going to take 5 or 10 years to get something substantial going. And so, yes, you have to wait and let compounding do its thing. A lot of times, businesses never get off the ground because we have this bright, shiny object syndrome, and we're trying to chase one overnight success to the next, and we never give anything enough time to actually work. And so that's like one piece of advice. But on the other hand, it's like a paradox because you can't mistake patience for procrastination. And I've been guilty of this where I'm being patient and I'm letting time do its thing. And a year goes by and I take inventory and I haven't really done much of anything substantial in or on the business to move it forward. And so it's important to be patient, but to not mistake or conflate that with procrastination, which is what a lot of founders do. And I've been guilty of it. James Clear in Atomic Habits says, don't even worry about the goals. Focus on the systems, focus on the habits, focus on the routines that you are doing as the founder to drive that business forward. Those two bits of advice is what's helped me get unstuck from time to time.
I love that, man. You know who Andy Frisilla is. And when Andy was on, he told a story about, he said, we were all about the women and the cars and the, and all that. Right. He said, and one day I looked at my business partner, we're living in the back of the store. And
Wow.
and he said, and some woman came in and said, your products changed my life. And she was in tears and thanked him and all this stuff. And then she left and he looked at his partner. He said, you know what? I don't care if we ever get the cars or I won't use the B word he used, but the women. Right. And
he found his why right there. That's awesome.
He said, that is the reason. And he said, and once we stop focusing on the money, he said, like the next year we did 7 figures and then, and it just kept growing from there. And I think that, you know, I remind myself, and I'm sure you do, service is the lifeblood of growing your business, period.
Yep. Service to your employees, service to your customers, service to your stakeholders. It's never ending servitude. So just embrace it. That's what it takes.
Amen. Bryan, this is awesome. Listen, everybody in the US, Joaquin, this doesn't include you. Everybody go to yourgreenpal.com. Maybe they'll get to Norway one of these days soon, but right now I don't think they're able to service you, brother. But go to yourgreenpal.com, check it out, download the app. It's on the App Store and the Google Play Store. I'm downloading the app after this 100%. Because hey, stuff happens.
You may need it. Yeah.
Right. So
treat your current lawn guy like gold, but you never know if he pulls a disappearing act. Check out GreenPal. You can get quotes from 4 or 5 different lawn care services real quick.
Wow. So awesome, man. What a great idea. Congratulations. Seriously.
Well, thanks, Ken. I appreciate it. And thanks for having me on your show. This was fun.
Yeah, it's been awesome. So don't go anywhere, but I'm going to end the live stream and wrap this up and we can chat here real quick. But thank you to everybody who's watched. If you didn't share this out on Facebook or wherever you're watching, there is still time to redeem yourself and go ahead and share this out. And make sure you're following Bryan and go to Your Green Pal. Follow them everywhere. This is awesome. Bryan, thanks again. I appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Ken.
Have a great day.
You too.